Hi and welcome. I'm Oracle Asherah. This is an angel guided energy reading for the week of February 6th. All right, so this is a general reading for everyone. We're connecting to our angels, spirit guides, and ancestors to guide us in the energies of the cosmic song. All right, so let's see what is in store for us this week, what messages. All right, so our first card is material and spiritual prosperity, fulfillment of wishes. Okay, now how do we get in alignment with this beautiful energy and outcome? So, being mindful of your frequency and your energy. So, what is your energy? What is the state of your energy? Are you happy? Are you sad and depressed? Are you battling these things, or are you thriving? Okay, so in order to get in a thriving state, we need to do shadow work. We need to focus on facing our fears, healing those wounds and traumas, and freeing up this loop of energy that is constantly going. So when we free up this loop, we free up those frequencies to work for us, not against us. Not that it's working against you, because life lived, birth to present, is quite heavy. Okay, you're not responsible for what happened to you, but you are responsible to heal what happened to you. Okay, so that is to not allow these things to influence and drive you. Okay, so when your wounds are driving you, you become your wound, and that becomes your place of navigation. All right, so now your whole perspective and view on the world is from a very hurt and dark and angry place. Okay, so we need to take some time and allow time and your consciousness to allow these things to come up, love and forgive, and free that perspective. Okay, and as we do that, our frequency changes, our lessons changes, our attraction and law of attraction changes. Okay, so when you start to take responsibility for your frequency, you will be in alignment with your fulfillment and wishes, and you will start having blessings of material and spiritual prosperity. Okay. Sacral chakra. So you might want to do some research what feeds and harms the sacral chakra, what things you can do to help benefit and strengthen your sacral chakra. The work is infinite. Okay, so there's so many ways to influence this energy. So this is your creative energy, your power source, your sexual energy, your creative energy. Okay, so when that is being attacked and it's constantly working through wounds and traumas, you are not vibrating from your highest potential. You're working, and then you get tired because you're constantly working, right? So this chakra needs your attention and it needs your awareness. So I really suggest you start doing some research. What's the sacral chakra? Okay, how can I help heal my sacral chakra? Right? There's yoga, meditation, consciousness and awareness. Conscious and awareness in your creative energy. So when did you stop being creative? Why? Okay, and this was usually wounds and traumas that we start to shut down our sacral. Okay, the waiting game. Okay, so holding the vision, trusting the process. Okay, having patience in the process. Quite often we're impatient and we start forcing things, or we start seeking things, or we just don't want to wait. But the waiting is the alignment. Okay, so pray, wait, receive. That is the formula to your blessings. Okay, so the patience and the waiting part is where you need to do the work. Okay, so things are going to be like distracting you or disrupting the process with negative thoughts. Okay, so don't let those feelings, emotions, and thoughts land, right? So that's you holding the vision, trusting the process, leaning into faith, leaning into hope, leaning into all these things that hold space and breaks up that cycle of loops. Okay? All right, sacrifice. All right, so we can see she's in mud, and we can see she is holding the space, and there's like rainbows. So rainbows are calm after the storm, God's promise, right? So sacrificing, what are we talking about? We're talking about sacrificing things that have us bonded into our depression, bonded us into not living our best lives. Okay, so those are your habits, belief systems. If your belief system's having you judging, hating, or dividing, you need to evaluate your belief system, because this isn't godly and this isn't healthy. Okay. So, of course, when we want something new, we have to let go of something in order to create space for it. Okay, so making change is hard, but it's choice. You have to choose it. You have free will. So your free will is your strength and power, sacral chakra. So your free will. Right? So you need to make better choices. So that takes sacrificing things that made you feel comfortable, provided false safety. Okay, you need to create safety for yourself. You need to make your body, your life, your home more sacred, and that takes choice and sacrificing things and patterns and beliefs that aren't serving. Okay, so that can be scary and hard, because unwinding things, especially when it comes to a belief system, can be pretty traumatic, right? Sometimes it can be easier to continue than to believe that you're wrong. Not necessarily wrong, but this isn't in your best interest or in best alignment or helping and healing you. Okay, so sometimes we're like, no, I don't want to believe that I've been wrong all this time. So it's just easier to continue than make the change. But no matter how far and how long you've journeyed, you can always turn around. You can always reinvent, recreate. Okay, that is the blessing of each moment, each sunrise, each day. Okay, emotional loss. Right, so these cycles, right? So we aren't in a straight line anymore. We're in a constant loop, in a constant cycle. So as things loop, we can change and free up the loop with choice, choosing better, choosing to be better, picking and choosing your environments, your friends, how you're feeding yourself, whether it's food, visually, audioly, right? So just awareness of what you're feeding. What are you addicted to, right? You can be very much addicted to fear. We can be addicted to TV and needing to be in the loop and knowing our programs, whatever we're listening to. Listen from a place of witness, not I need to know. Okay, so when you are not in your sacral and root chakra and in your sovereignty and the free will of the self and the soul, you're seeking. You throw that all away because you don't trust yourself. And as soon as you don't trust yourself and your soul, you are going to be lost. You're going to be seeking, feed, addicted, and not rooted. You're not sovereign. You're not safe. All right, so we need to learn to be safe within ourselves. Okay. All right, so this might be a little more general for some people, emotional loss. So there might be loss of relatives, friends, changes in our life that hurts. Okay, grief is heavy. And sometimes grief is an opportunity for us to reevaluate and transform ourselves and our life and our choices. What do we learn? How can we do better? How can we better our world, ourselves, and everyone around us? Okay. Yeah. So transformation of the self, right? And that takes sacrifice. In order for her to get out of that mud and into that beautiful clear sky and the magic of our hopes and dreams and prayers, we need to have to sacrifice who we were to become. Okay. So putting down belief systems, putting down our habits and our addictions and things that made us feel safe and secure in this world, because in our awareness we know there's more, right? Curiosity is okay. Curiosity, they joke curiosity killed the cat, but you could be either the cat that's locked in home, has never lived life or experienced anything or had any soul growth, or you can, venture those 9 lives. Okay. Okay. We have emotional withdrawal. So it is important to take a step back, especially from our feelings and the looping of the mind. And this is being the witness, the observer. Okay. This provides space where we're not being driven and ruled by our feelings or our thoughts. Okay. So if your thoughts are constantly looping fear-based energies or emotions, are going to be in a state of panic and chaos. So like this is gonna just be toxic. Okay, so what we need to do is withdraw, take a step back and witness and start doing some inner housekeeping. All right, so heal, forgive, love, confront, face, right? And step into your honor, your integrity, right? Accountability for your life, your happiness, your body, your situation, okay? Allowing yourself to see the big picture. Sometimes when we withdraw and take a step back, we allow things to fix themselves. We allow the dust to settle. We allow for truth to come up. Truth isn't always pretty, because sometimes that means we recognize certain people aren't for us. We recognize certain things that we've invested in aren't working, and they're not working for us. So yeah, those are the things we need to be okay with sacrificing and accepting loss, because that's just going to free you up. Sometimes accepting loss is the best and easiest way, because if you try to earn back, that could be money, respect, whatever, and if it's not meant for you, you're doing a lot of work and wasting a lot of time, and those are things you may not ever achieve. So sometimes accepting that loss is a win. Okay, we have mental conflict. All right, so our minds aren't always our best friend. Okay, so when we become that witness and the observer in the mind, we're not absorbing every thought as ours. So when you are aware that isn't true, that's not how I believe, that's not what I'm feeling, that's not what my soul is, you realize there's influence, there's energetic influence, and that could be fed through 3D things, spiritual things, it doesn't matter. There's influence. And we need to be aware of our integrity, our sovereignty, our free will, and our capability. We are capable of creating and destroying. And that doesn't always have to be a negative thing. We can destroy this negativity, right? We can destroy and create a better world, a better self, right? And that takes accountability. And it's hard work. But trust me, it is worth it. So let's get back to the mind. Okay, so we have things that want to root, things that want us to be fearful, hateful, untrusting, self-sabotageal. Okay. Is that even a word? Sabotaging. So when you're navigating life from your integrity and your heart, you know you're not going to do wrong. Okay, so you need to, I don't believe that. That's not mine. I don't think that way. I'm not listening to that, right? I'm not letting that land, because as soon as you let an insecurity land and then you start compiling it to a wound, it now has a loop, and it's really hard to break free, and it takes a lot of work. I mean, it's healing is always possible, but it takes your consciousness and awareness and effort. Okay, so learning to be the observer within the mind. All right, that's usually an achievement through meditation. Okay, so that either is sitting in meditation or moving meditation, which is like exercise, yoga, going out for a walk, just going out for some fresh air, whatever it is. Taking that break, breaking that loop, and just being like, I need a moment. Taking that moment. Breaking up that conflict and being like, is this mine? Do I really think and feel that way? And allow your soul and your heart and your brain to have a conversation. And if you're like, no, this is what I think, this is what I believe, this is what I want, and then that is able to land, because now you've made an internal decision with your free will. And so the next time these thoughts and energies start coming at you, be like, no, I've already had this discussion with myself. I'm not listening to that. I'm not letting that influence me. Okay, maybe that is enough said right there. Okay. Okay. Disconnect and boredom. Okay. So quite often we don't want to disconnect and take time to isolate ourselves and do healing work because we think it's boring. What are the benefits? Right? But until you know, you're not going to understand. So you really do have to break your cycles, break your patterns, and try something different in order to experience something different. So if you're judging other people's paths that got them to achievement, you're limiting yourself and your experience. So disconnect is important. Shutting off the TV, disconnecting from our phones, disconnecting from people and places and habits and addictions is important, because then we have a moment where we question, think, and experience different. So if we're always addicted to a false security, safety, comfort, whatever it is that we attach ourselves to, without taking that step back, we're not aware of how we are sabotaging and avoiding. Okay. Right. So being aware of your patterns and cycles. How am I harming myself? How can I help myself? Okay. So stepping back, sometimes people will fall off and we're like, oh, I guess those people were never for me, or those situations weren't for me. Okay, so if we always think everything's for us just because they're present, that's not always the case. A lot of people are using you. We're using a lot of situations, people, and things ourselves, right? So we need to have our independence, accountability, in order these things to free up our frequency. Okay. Okay. All right, hope. Hope is what starts to plant seeds and break up these loops. Okay? Having hope is leaning in your faith. When you lean into your faith, you start driving and navigating from love, and that helps the heart brain start focusing and functioning at a higher level and a higher frequency. Okay? So if you need help breaking up these mental loops and these energies, really pray, really ask for the angels and God to help you. Allow these pulses of hope to reappear and provide these breaks in these loops. Okay, and that just could be something as simple. I hope to whatever. I hope to achieve. right? And that just starts to switch the gears, okay? And then it switches the gears into I'm going to create this. I'm going to make this happen, okay? So hope is very valuable in life. Okay. All right, balance. Restoring balance of the self, right? So that's your soul, your body, your emotions, your mind, your experience. Okay, that takes your accountability and your effort. All right, I love that there's an angel in this photo, because angels are assigned to this planet. Angels are assigned to each and every person. Angels are not assigned to any religion. Okay, they are purposeful in humanity, life, whether that is an animal, plant, the planet, person. Okay, they are guardians and keepers. So they are also there for our access, right? You don't need anyone else to pray for you or guide you. You can navigate with your own soul and your intent. Okay, so asking the angels to be present in your life and just give time, have hope, break up those loops. When you start to believe, right, just like, you know, the fairy Tinkerbell story, you know, when they stopped believing, she started losing her magic, right? So you start losing your magic and connection with your guides when you stop believing, right? So maybe all you need to do is reconnect with, I want to believe again, or I want to believe, show me. And then be the observer and witness what happens, okay? Can't make that stuff up. When magic starts reappearing in your life, it will inspire that hope and that faith within yourself. And that has nothing to do with religion, but everything to do with your heart, your soul, and your connection, okay? Okay. Let's see what else is going on. Okay, you need to have courage. Courage to experience something new, something different. Okay, courage to heal. Courage to face your fears. Take accountability. Okay. In doing so, it's going to provide freedom. Okay, free from your mental loop, your emotional state, the condition and the conditioning that is your life and world. Okay, when you start taking accountability and protecting your energy and making life in your home and your body more sacred, you're going to experience things so much different. Okay, I love this. Love is the answer for everything. Love is the highest frequency. Love is what connects us to each other, spirit, God, compassion and awareness for ourselves and others. When you're more compassionate and forgiving to your own experience, you're going to be aware of how you are affecting other people's experience, and we start navigating from a whole new level, whole new frequency, perspective, and consciousness. Okay. Financial health. All right, so if things are not going your way, you're not achieving what you think and want and hope, there's something out of sync. There's something not in alignment. Okay, so this goes back to what I was talking about before. Sometimes it's important to take that loss and risk to move on, to free yourself of a situation, person, arrangement, agreement, toxic people that will never be working for you. Whatever the story is, you need to take accountability and be courageous in trying something that is going to be more in alignment with you. Okay, so financial health, right? I mean, you could put a lot of effort into something, doesn't mean it's going to be fruitful. Okay, you might have a lot of things sabotaging. You might have a lot of hands in the pocket. You might have a lot of situations that aren't working. So you need to take a moment, step back, and observe what's working, what's not working, and why. And if the why is too much and things you can't control, what can you control? The situation. Leave it. Okay? All right. We have spirit guide. All right. So I'm going to talk about the self here. I'm going to talk about the inner child. The inner child is birth to present. This is everything your soul has learned this far. All right? So that could be a lot of burdens. That could be a lot of trauma, a lot of wounds. Let's add education, indoctrination, chosen and self-educated experiences, spiritual experiences and awareness. Okay, so that's a lot going on. Okay. The higher self is your future self, the spirit, infinite potential, the unknown, the impossible possible, right? Not to be feared, right? But embraced. The higher self knows all. It's all knowing. It wants the best for you. But we don't always listen. Sometimes our intuition, that's our intuition, is the combination of these two things. So combination of our wounds and traumas and what's learned so far battles our highest potential, right? So when the highest potential steps in, those are whispers. This isn't for you, but I want it. Or the inner child is like, well, this is what I know, so no. Okay? So we have this internal battle, right? But our higher self, our spirit guides, our angels, those are just glimpses of intuition. And we need to really start listening to those moments of intuition because they will influence how we choose. And when we choose right, we become in alignment, right? So that takes faith and trust, right? So we need to really focus on how we're driving. So we really need to heal that inner child. So that inner child, past to present, which means that minute ago, right? Everything that exists, we really need to heal and free up that energy, because if it's driving and being negative and fearful and shutting us down, if we're in a state of depression is because we're not happy. Our soul is starved and suffocated, right? So we need to free up that energy and really focus on healing and forgiving lessons, experiences. And when we do that, we don't change the story, but we change how that story affects us. And that's important work. So when the whole system starts working together, we can start making better choices and working in more in alignment to our blessings. So that infinite potential, our spirit guides, our angels, God, we need to tap into that energy. So they are not going to influence you. They're going to inspire you. So those are just hits of your intuition. So you're like, oh, you make a choice, something doesn't work, but you're like, oh, I knew that. I knew that wasn't going to work, or I knew that was going to happen, because you didn't listen to your intuition. And it's really hard because, you think your intuition is going to be like more psychic and more bigger than we think it is. Well, I didn't know all the details. The details don't matter. It's the energy. What is the energy telling you? What are you listening to? What was that intuition? It was to inspire you and your free will. It's not going to drive your free will like everything else is doing. So if things are driving and influencing you, you need to pay attention to that. You need to be more paying attention to things that are inspiring your will and your soul. Okay. Let's see what else is going on. All right, we have transformation again. Okay, so we need to really embrace changes and allow things to change. I know that hurts sometimes because we get disappointed, brokenhearted, there's loss, right? But those are important things, and they call those tower moments. These tower moments are important because they free up what's not supposed to be. So if we're clinging on to all these things, like the inner child likes to cling on to all these fears and wounds, we're really just locking down and anchoring in a mess. Okay, so we are in a state of cocoon, the body, right? So in order to, break free, we need to free up all these energies, right? And then we can be more in the infinite potential. We can start creating our existence and our world and our life. Okay. Home. Making your home sacred, your body sacred. How do we do that? All right, let's start with the home. Getting rid of clutter, things you haven't used, things you're not going to use, your attachment to things. Why do you have it? What's the reason, right? And when you start cleaning and decluttering your home, you're actually doing a lot of decluttering of the self, okay? There's a lot of self-help books out there. There's a lot of inspirational speakers and teachers, be the observer. Don't look for a program, but be the observer to create your program. That's my advice there. That's my advice. Okay. Oh. All right, 2 cards popped out. We'll take them. Divine timing. Okay, so having patience, holding the vision, trusting the process. Pray, wait, receive. Okay, so we're not forcing things. We're not picking and choosing things. We're allowing things to come into alignment. We're allowing truth to present. So if you are fearful and you have all these negative thoughts that are driving your relationship or ruining your relationship, might not be true or real, you need to take a step back from these feelings and thoughts, because you know what? Everyone will trip. If there is something that you need to know, you will know. And you will know in divine timing. Okay? So this is coexisting with spirit, yourself, the world. Okay? You're not forcing things in life, because often we do that. We don't always know best. We're not always coming from the best place, even when we think we are. Okay? So allow divine timing. Have patience, hold the vision, trust the process, and do the work in between. And in the work in between is just freeing and leaning into faith and trusting yourself that you will be guided and you're going to make the right choices with your free will and with what you're experiencing and what you know at best at that time. Okay, so we clean up our vessel, clean up our energy, clean up our space, our frequency, the people that we are with. We're not going to have too much work to do. Okay, so we need to be really protective of ourselves, our body, our time, our feelings, our experience. So if you're just going out, I'm young, dumb, going to go experience the world, you might be signing up for a lot of trauma, wounds, and experiences you're don't even think you want or know you're going to be signing up for. So you need to have responsibility and accountability for what you experience and how you experience the world, right? So sometimes we go out, we have an experience, and you can't fear leaving your home, but you have to be like, I didn't listen to my intuition. It guided me not to do something, but I ignored it and did it anyways, okay? Sometimes bad things happen because we need to learn something. So there's a lesson in our frequency. I had a lot of traumas in my childhood, and I didn't understand why I was consistently attracting these traumas. It's because I never healed that trauma. I buried it. I ignored it. I lived around it. And that created a seed and a frequency that wanted to be freed. Okay, so when we have these lessons coming at us, it's because we need to do some healing work. It's not because you're being punished. Okay, so I'm not telling you to not leave your house, or not to be brave and be like, I'm just going to experience the world and have an adventure, because that's so important. But when bad things happen, realize you're dancing with the chaos, and it's helpful. It's traumatic. Those are tower moments. They can be really harmful. Some can be avoided if you're listening to intuition, and some things are unnecessary, but some things are unnecessary for us to reevaluate our path, our state, and what traumas and wounds do we need to address and heal. Okay, so that's all clearing up our frequency, and you can't escape that. Okay, well, you can by doing the work, right? But okay, the art of letting go. Grace. Have grace in letting things go that are not for you. Okay, it makes things a lot easier. Okay. Grace is a place of consciousness. Grace is a choice. Okay. All right, let's close with an angel card. All right. All right, we have Archangel Raphael. All right, so healing. The healing angel is with you. Support your healing work. Sorry, I read that wrong. The healing angel is with you, supporting your healing work. All right, so there are angels here, both of light and dark. Both are pushing us on our path. So if our frequency is low and dark, we are going to have these energies that are either feeding or helping. There are dark energies helping, trust me, right? But that depends on you and your frequency and where you're at. So when you raise your vibration and raise your frequency and you're navigating from a higher place, you're connecting to a higher realm of angels, okay? But they're all getting us to the same place, right? So you need to be aware of what's feeding and influencing you and what's inspiring you. Because when you are dark and deep, there are going to be dark things inspiring you too, okay? Not everything's against you. Not everything's evil. So, connecting with Archangel Raphael. He is the angel of healing. So all we need to do is request his presence in our life, the guidance within the healing, okay? Sometimes dark things happen to us in order for us to have those self-discoveries, to do that work, to be like, isolate, and I need to figure this out, okay? Yes, I hope that wasn't too dark and deep, but it is what it is. All right, friends. I wish you all a great week, and we'll see you soon.